going?
Good, good. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you just fine. My audio's okay?
What was that?
I said, is my audio okay?
Yeah, yours is good. I had to turn mine up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm getting over a cold too, so my voice is kind of raspy.
Oh, no worries. I should have. Hey, then you got your little Black Power stuff on. I should have put my African stuff on.
Gotta represent.
Hold on,
That's
man.
right. That's right.
What about my Pistons though?
Oh man.
This
I see you though. No, that's what's up. That's what's up. I'm waiting on the therapist. She said she was trying to log in. I don't know. She should have just been able to come in just like you guys did. It shouldn't even been.
When I clicked the link, it says something about a redirect, and then I had to click a second link.
Oh. You came in through your email?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to get my wife on the job.
She gonna substitute for the therapist.
No.
She tech support, isn't she?
But until then, I'm waiting on her to send me a message back. How you guys been though?
Pretty good.
Yep.
Good. So like, all right, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I just sent her the email. But yeah, as I was saying, yeah, I'm really glad you guys called me to kind of get a little bit of context about what was going on. Not that nobody else has asked, but I appreciate that really, just to kind of know, because this is not a fluff piece at all. It wasn't designed to be that way, but also I didn't come at this in the intent to aggravate or agitate anybody's marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in a tough spot and you're uncomfortable, then I don't want you to speak about it, because the goal is to help promote healthy marriages, help them get through those tough times, not to break anything apart. But it is also designed to talk to those couples who are on the other side of this thing and to be able to share their experience. Like, hey, it's not easy, but you can make it through. And these are the tools that we use in order to come through to the other side. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's the whole purpose of this thing. Hi, Brooke.
Hi, how are you guys?
Doing? These
Wonderful.
are the Max. Always get his wife's name on. Will&Shena.
Shanae.
Will&Shena.
Why I can't never pronounce this woman's name?
I don't know.
Mac. Well, you know what? Hey, welcome to another episode of Black Marriage Chronicles. This is Funny Now. Once again, we just so happy to have our guest on. Again, I want to always say that I don't take lightly that you allow us into your personal space, your marriage, because we know that is sacred ground. We appreciate you coming on and sharing the information with us and giving us your experiences through marriage, and just being able to be transparent about what you've gone through to make it to this point right here. So just know that we don't take it lightly here, that you're allowing us into that personal space to be able to do that. So we just want to, before we get started, I do want to say thank you. And to the people that are going to be viewing this, I also want to say, I don't want to be, because I know sometimes, because I truly believe that God is going to bless this platform and it's going to get much bigger than what it is now. What I don't want to happen to me is, because they always say pride cometh before the fall, right? What I don't want to happen is I don't want people putting labels on me. Oh, he's the marriage this. No, I am not the marriage anything. I am learning right along with everyone else here. That's the purpose of the platform, for me to also learn and grow. I'm married on my second marriage, in fact, but I want to make sure this is my last one. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want anybody putting any labels on me. I'm just here to provide the information and the knowledge, and hopefully it helps everyone else. And it also helps me as well, to make my marriage better and to take the negative stereotypes off of Black marriages, especially. So, but again, thank you everyone for coming on. We really appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and get started and jump right into it. So before we get going, there's a couple things I want to there's some games that we play throughout our time here, and it normally lasts about an hour. If we go over, the therapist, are you okay with if we swing over just a little bit, or are you?
I am. I'm here to go with the flow. I just didn't know whether they had been introduced and knew that I was a therapist.
Yes. You know what? I apologize.
It's okay.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, Brooke.
I'm Brooke Brantley-Gilbert. I am a licensed professional counselor. I've been in this profession. This is my second profession, my second career, doing counseling solely for about 6.5 years now. I am recently starting my own practice, Aspire to Wellness Counseling, but have been in private practice working under someone else for the last 6.5 years. My background is in substance abuse. That's what I did my work in school, but also just general counseling, anxiety, depression, adjustment disorder, a little bit of bipolar disorder, just running the gamut of helping people work through some of their issues and problems. I also see couples every now and then. I have a couple couples on my caseload currently. So I do have work with couples, but it is not my main specialty.
Okay. Well,
you guys ever have questions for me, just let me know.
Yeah. Well, we still appreciate you coming on, lending your expertise in this. Again, this is I'm sure the information that you'll be able to give us will be valuable nonetheless. So we appreciate it nonetheless.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like I said, we do play games, and they're inspired to hopefully get some robust conversation because I do have some general questions that I ask, but the games to help, one, to break up the monotony, to have some fun. We still want you guys to laugh, but to be able to hopefully promote some robust conversation. So the first game is called hashtag culture tags. So if you choose this game, you do get a lifeline. However, we need to see who you call because we can't have them Googling nothing. So, if you choose this game, they just gotta be on screen so we can see them. That's it.
Okay.
So the next game is called, this is one of the most popular ones. This is called Naughty Nice. If you choose this game, no lifelines included. This is kind of just a game between you and your wife. Kind of ask some questions, promote, hopefully, again, to promote some robust conversation and to have some fun. This one brings a lot of laughs. Well, these last two both of them bring a lot of laughs. And this one is called Tonight, Let's Talk. So if this is one you choose, we can we can go with this one. So before we get started, I need you two to let me know which game you want to play, and then we'll get going.
So wait, so you said the last two brings out a lot of laughs.
Yeah. It just, huh?
Kind of leaning towards the first one.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I want to call some people like, yo, I need your help.
Okay. Well, let's see what the wife say. You agree? You want to do the first one?
We can do it. We can do the first one. Let's do the first one.
Okay. All right, great. All right, first one it is. This will be a first. All right, y'all. So we might have some people we get to get on screen, and all right, awesome. Okay. Let's talk about the different categories. Okay, so the categories are Black Twitter, Words to Live By, Church, TV and Film, Family and Friends, or Daily Sayings.
So
Dilemmas.
Okay.
Brooke, it's so good to see you again. It's been a while.
I know it has been. I know. It's always good to see you.
You as well.
What was the one? What was the second from last one?
Okay, I'll read them again. Black Twitter,
Yep.
Words to Live By, Church, TV and Film,
That one.
Okay.
Family and Friends, and then Daily Sayings.
Okay. Either TV and film or family and friends. So you can pick.
TV and films.
TV and Film. All right. TV
And it's Black culture, right?
Huh?
It's Black culture.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
TV and Film it is. All right. So let me get some of those cards situated. All right. So while I'm doing this, there is a timer as well. I'll set a timer because we can't be here all day. We got things to talk about. All right. Tell us a little bit about your marriage. How long you been married? What's the family like? How many children do we have? How many children do you have? How did you guys meet? Give us some context.
So we've been married it'll be 12 years in December.
Okay.
We have us, and then we have 3 kids. A girl, she's graduating this year. A middle child, he is 6, and then we have a baby who is 2.
Okay.
And what else did you
How we met.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, let me tell the story.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Let me tell my side of the story. So we
Wait a minute,
actually,
before you tell you how long y'all been married again, I'm sorry.
It'll be 12 years in
12
December.
years.
11.
Okay.
11. All right. So how we met. So we actually met in a ballroom dance class. So we were both going to the same class and we were learning.
Uh-huh.
And excuse me. So in the class, like you would always rotate partners.
Mm-hmm.
So she ended up being my partner a couple of times, and we would have like small talk. There was this one time where she messed up the dance. And she came to me.
Okay, but wait, wait.
Well, what happened was.
So in ballroom, the man is supposed to lead.
Yes.
Right.
And so in class, if there's a mess up, even if it is my fault, it's his fault.
Okay, there we go.
So apparently, I got a little saucy with him when I messed up. I don't remember this, but he said, it sounds about right though.
So it was a mess up on somebody's part.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, she said something smart, like, okay. But anyway, so we kept going to class and seeing each other. Still just small conversation. So fast forward, there was one day where it was me and her and another guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up leaving early. So it was just me and her. And so like we were dancing like the whole time. We were leaving. And she this is her line to me. She said, "Oh, I'm going to the show, but I don't have anybody to go with." I'm like, okay, I don't have nothing to do. I'm saying this in my head. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'll go to the show with you.
Uh-huh.
So that was like our first date.
Okay.
Before we went on a date, she called and asked me for my license plate number.
You never be too careful, right?
Right, I feel you. So when we got to the movies, she carded me because she's 6.5 years younger than me.
Uh-huh.
So at the time I was 28.
Yeah.
20,
Were you
I think I was 28.
Yeah.
She didn't
Okay.
believe I was 28. She was like 22. So she carded me.
Uh-huh.
We went to see Hot Tub Time Machine. For the record, has anybody ever seen Hot Tub Time Machine?
Okay.
I've never seen it, but I saw the preview.
Okay, so when I tell you, we went to the movies and like this is kind of like our first day. We were kind of vibing a little bit in class, right? So
Uh-huh.
I'm cracking jokes and I'm giving him easy setups, like
Oh.
it's a comedy, right? But
Uh-huh.
I tell you, he was staring straight ahead at this movie like it was the best thing he's ever seen. I'm like, okay, so you're not gonna engage, and so I was like, no, I this is it. Like this,
It's the last day.
yeah. So this is over.
So anyway, Hot Tub Time Machine is a good movie. I didn't want to miss no punchlines. Ain't no, you're not supposed to be talking during the movie. Okay, so we leave, and in her mind, she like, she's not gonna mess with me.
No.
But again, we was in a ballroom dance class, so I called her, I think like a couple days later, and let her know that like I was going out dancing because she hadn't really been out dancing. So she was like, she kind of was using me because she wanted to get exposed to the ballroom world because she wasn't telling me. So this was kind of secretly or unplanned, like a second date.
Uh-huh.
And from there, like we really vibed, and like from that point on.
Let me tell you, because when we went dancing, he actually talked to me.
Oh, you engaged.
Tristan, he's funny.
Right.
True. So
So
Yeah,
you
so-
actually engaged during in conversation the second go around. Okay.
We
All right.
wasn't watching a movie where I had to see all the punchlines. So
So let me ask you this. Is he still like that to this day? Like if he's focused on something, he's laser focused and you can't really.
he can be, depending
Okay.
on what he's doing. So certain movies, like if he's like really into it, yeah. But Will is a jokester. So like
Yeah, I know.
there's something going on, like there's gonna be some conversation or some talk. So I just
Okay.
think that, during our
You
first.
get that initially.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So to kind of wrap it up, so that second date or unexpected date, like since that time, like we've pretty much been inseparable.
Okay.
Like we had some hiccups, but for the most part, like that was it, and we've been like close ever since.
Mhm.
Okay, good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear, especially the first day. most dates, because I know my wife remembers our first date of a bit differently than I remember it. So, you know, hey, I totally understand. And then sometimes I hate when the conversation comes up, because I don't be knowing what to say. I'm like, I don't know she knows what she had on, what I had on, where we were at, what time it was. I'm like, oh my God. And then she looking at me, why you don't know that? I don't know. I just don't know it. But that's good. And you said y'all have 3, right?
Mhm.
3 children, and what are their ages again?
17, 6, and 2.
Okay. Is this your first marriage? Because some of the other couples I've been talking to, they've been married before. Is this it's your first marriage? Okay, good. What was there anything about getting married that scared you?
Yes. So I did not want to get married. I did not really have any, I feel like, good examples of marriage, and it kind of seemed like it was a lot, especially like on the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a woman that I should not fail. So if it's a lot, I'm gonna kind of do my best. And I felt like I did not want to do that, but he's very adamant about it. And so I had apprehensions because not seeing what I wanted from a marriage, and then kind of seeing, I felt like the work that goes into it, it was really scary for me.
Okay.
How long did you date before you got married?
What was that, a year and a half, 2 years?
Year and a half.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always say that I believe like 2 years is really more than enough time to decide what it is you want to do. I mean, after that, you just, unless, like, I do know people who have been in long-term relationships and they're fine with that. They don't want to put a title on it. But I always said, if you want to get married, that I believe 2 years is more than enough time to decide, you know, if you want to take things to the next level with this person. After that, you just pretty much spinning your wheels, spending money there. And then the last thing you want to do is get involved financially buying big ticket items with a person that you're not married to. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but if you, and I know marriage is not for everybody, but Will, what did you do to, you know, persuade your wife, like, hey, you wanted to take this, you know, to the next level, like just shacking up ain't gonna do it for me?
I don't think it was necessarily a persuading, because like we were into each other, and like we had talked about like taking it to the next level. I mean, really, it was just like, you know, like you trust yourself, you trust me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a man of faith, so you know, trust in God, and you know, our pastor has been very instrumental in our relationship, so we always go to him
Mm-hmm.
when we have issues, and even prior to getting married, we would come to him with different issues about it. And so just resolving those issues early, and just, I mean, really just taking a chance. Like, again, it was no convincing. Like, she knew she wanted to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the whole idea of, again, marriage and not having any examples. It caused her to hesitate, but she was never not willing to get married.
Yeah,
Okay.
I often tell him like he's the only person in the world that I will marry. So
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said he would be the only person in the world that I would marry, and so and I feel that strongly to this day. Like,
I was just about that was gonna be my follow-up question. Would you do it again? There
yes.
we go. Yes. All right. That's huge to hear, because you know what? Marriage license is the only one you can't renew.
I like
You know what
that.
I'm saying? It's the only license you can't renew.
I like that.
You can't let it expire.
Right. That's good to hear. What was you said you didn't have any Shanae, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So real quick, so let me give you a tip.
Okay.
Whenever you think about her name,
Uh-huh.
a little ghetto, but think Shanae from Martin.
Got you. I won't forget that.
I did.
Remember Shanae.
Shanae.
I did
Okay.
immediately.
Yeah. I want to say Sheena. Okay, Shanae. You said you didn't have any positive
Like
examples of marriage. Thank you. Was there anything in particular about marriage that's really gave you apprehension, besides not having positive examples about marriage? I know you said there's a lot on the woman. Is there anything in particular that really gave you apprehension?
Yeah, just kind of based on relationships that I had seen where they weren't even married. I mean, a lot in my family, I've seen like, my own mother kind of shouldering a lot of things, and most of the responsibilities. And even though she hadn't been married, I felt like that kind of permeated, and that was kind of like what I was thinking that my marriage would be. And then I had, some not so great examples. So the apprehension was really in being married, but really being single. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
So I want to kind of interject really quickly because the question was a good question, but I want to follow up question to her because you asked me like, what did I do to convince her? But it wasn't no convincing on me. So I guess for you, like, what made you follow through? Like, what was it that you was like, okay, I'm gonna take a chance?
Will was one of the most solid people that I have met. Like when I say solid, he's
Mhm.
solid and consistent.
Okay.
So, and I could see that especially like as soon as we started dating. Um,
Mhm.
there was this particular instance and where I was very busy. I was working. I probably had a couple jobs. I was in college at the time, about to graduate. I was supposed to go to a friend's party at Michigan State, and I was doing all these other things. I had my daughter from a previous relationship, and she was small at the time. And I'm like running all around, and
Mhm.
I needed something done, and I just did not have enough time in the day. And we're still dating, and he's like, "Don't worry about this. I will go do this for you. You go do the other things."
Mhm.
And so having somebody be really that solid rock for me when I felt like I didn't have it and I especially wanted it. And
Mhm.
he's always been that person for me. And so like he didn't I didn't really do anything. He did it himself
Yeah.
by being what he is.
Yeah. I think that women are drawn. I heard someone say that men are drawn to confident women, but I think equally women are drawn to confident, like and consistent men as well. You want somebody that's consistent and reliable. So I definitely understand that. Now you mentioned that you had a child from a previous relationship. How old was she when you and Will got together?
She was just turning 4 or 4, yes.
Okay. Um, so she pretty much all you knew. I mean, you her father, Will, is right. So how was with being so young? Was the other biological father, is he still alive? Like how
He's completely out of the
out of the
picture.
picture? Okay. Okay. All right. Because I was just wondering, like, how is Will? How's your relationship with him? And as far as the child is concerned, does he doesn't come around? None of
Not
that.
at all.
Okay.
He it was a non-issue,
Okay.
because Autumn was basically mine
Yeah.
after she was born. So, but another kind of hesitancy initially was how do I navigate, being in a relationship with someone with such a young child, and I got to make sure that they gel okay, and
Yeah.
I make sure that everything is good even when I'm not around. So
Right.
and I never got any type of like I was never uncomfortable with that. And actually Autumn was very, very she liked him a lot at
Okay.
the very
Okay.
beginning. And I
That's
could see.
yeah. That's good. That's good. Um, Brooke, have you ever counseled uh couples who have had children from a previous relationship and then they come into a relationship with someone that the person that they're with is not the biological parent, and helping them to kind of um make sure, like they said, make sure everything is okay. I mean, like Shanae said, hey, that was part of her hesitation, but her daughter also was probably helped facilitate that, and she was very comfortable with Will. Like, have you ever had to talk to couples about how to navigate that territory?
Yeah, how to blend two families. Oftentimes there's kids on both sides, right? So it is very important that your child is comfortable and with the person who you're trying to be in a relationship with. And it sounds like that was one of your first priorities, in making sure that Autumn was comfortable with Will, and it sounded like that worked out swimmingly. But other times you have to kind of coach people into determine what role they want to play in that child's life. And it becomes difficult when the new partner really is not really vested in their partner's child. So to me, it's if you're going to be invested in me, my child is part of me.
Mm.
So therefore, we are a package deal, and it
Yeah.
sounds like that worked out very well for you guys.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work out so well in other relationships, and they remain kind of divided, which is a big sticking point, and oftentimes can lead to a lot of communication problems, and sometimes eventually a dissolution of the relationship. But it
Oh.
sounds like you guys worked through that well, and it's been 12 years, 14 years, because you've been married 11 and a couple months. I get it. And, plus another 2 years on top of that. So it sounds like it's working out very well for you too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So you guys know the name of the show. I remember we talked and I asked you, did you guys do your homework? So we're going to kind of go ahead and get started and really jump into some stuff. Give us an example of a time in your marriage where you're on the other side of it now, where it wasn't funny then, but you can look back at it and laugh now. Give us some examples of what that looked like.
A lot.
Yeah.
Some stuff.
Oh, remember year 2? So,
Yeah.
so the first year of our marriage, and we talked about this,
Uh-huh.
like super great honeymoon, excellent. Year 2, we almost didn't make it past. Like it was a rough one. It kind of seemed like everything that could go wrong in a year was going wrong. We're not communicating well, and it was a rough one. And so now we can laugh about it, but I mean, we had some major things happen. Like, he moved in with me. That was initially, and then we had marriage counseling, but we actually didn't think about the division of labor and chores in the house. Like that was something that we hadn't discussed, and then that was a sticking point. He ended up being laid off. Just the logistics of trying to work, and then we got to get Autumn to where she needs it. It was a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm sure probably during that time there was some communication issues. Well, you did mention that there was some communication issues. Major.
Yeah, and I would say that the cause of most of the communication issues in year 2, I would say, was me. So,
oh, wait, hold on. Wait, do we have a woman that admit she was wrong? Did she think we had that?
that's
Mark that.
now.
Mark it.
I gotta go
Like
on.
so. Mhm.
That's mark it. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
but I heard you say that it was the division of labor, and within the household, and I think that's one of the main things that I see with couples is that they've not really talked through. They talk through a lot of things, but that division of labor, because women kind of automatically assume that these things are my task, and then a man automatically assumes that these things are my task, and it sometimes ends up a bit unequal, and one person feels like they're taking on the primary responsibilities in the household. And it all depends on what you decide is what you take ownership of. So if you guys decide that, okay, Will's gonna do the laundry, but you still hover over Will while he's doing the laundry, you still are really taking care of this laundry.
Right.
And you have to be really comfortable with when you decide who's going to do what, letting that person actually do it. And it doesn't mean that it has to be done the way that you wanted it to be done or the way that you would necessarily do it.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that it's wrong either.
Right, exactly.
So that division of labor is always one of the topics that come up with couples.
And
That's
just
so
let me add something to that. So, communication wise, like you all mentioned, was a big thing because like her, like the way she is and the way she communicate, prior to being married, is keeping her feelings to herself, not really expressing how she feels, or like if she's frustrated about something, like literally, like I would have to come to her, and then when I would come to her, it'd be like, well, I don't want to talk about it, and she wouldn't want to talk about it for a very long time.
Okay.
So
this could be like a week.
Yeah. So it was kind of so, and this is a real, again, breakdown of communication because, like, one, she wasn't communicating to me like how she really felt and communicated in a way that we can move forward. And two, me sucking and not being domestic, because I never grew up domestic.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was, staying at home, like my mom used to do everything. My father used to work all the time. So I mean, I got a good work ethic. Like I'll work my butt off. But me, prior to getting laid off, it was like if I'm working, like I'm good. But like that wasn't the thing with her. It was, more domestic. So then I get laid off. I'm still like hustling and trying to find a job. So I'm thinking I'm good.
Right.
Domestic stuff is still not being taken care of.
Yeah.
But like her not really communicating to me in a way that we can move forward together. So again, I suck in this area. She not communicating in a way that we can move forward together. And that's what really caused year 2 to be really, really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can imagine, communication. And I always say open, honest communication, because if you tell me, because sometimes when you're in a dating phase, or even when you're in a relationship, because this has happened to me and my wife as well. When you're dating or you're in a relationship, and you tell your partner how you feel, but you haven't told them exactly how you feel for fear you don't want to hurt their feelings or injure them. Have you really been completely honest with me about what's going on? No, because if I walk away, you told me what's going on, but you didn't completely tell me everything for fear that it's going to injure me or hurt my feelings. I walk away thinking everything is okay. Okay, I repeat it back to you exactly what I heard. In a perfect world, I repeat back to you what I heard to make sure we move forward. And then we good. Well, I'm thinking we're good, but we're really not good, because then I've committed the offense again because you weren't completely honest with me about how you felt. And I think that's the key. We always talk about communication, and Brooke, I want you to chime in on this as well. We talk about communication, but if you're not completely honest with me about what it is I did to the offense that I made, how can I rectify? How can I fix it if you weren't completely honest with me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sometimes it takes time to be able to really communicate what's really on your mind, though, because you have to figure out for yourself what's on my mind. And then the second thing is that you have to figure out a way to relay that to your partner in a loving way, right? Because you can convey anything in a marriage, but it is the delivery sometimes that is the problem. So if I'm still on 10 about what's happening, my delivery may not be good. I need my temperature to go down to maybe a 6 and figure out some different words in order to be able to say it, because once words come out these mouths, they are there. So you always want to be able to respond to your mate in a way that's not tearing them down, but also communicating honestly with them. So sometimes it might require a second or a third conversation. I heard what you said today. How about we talk about this again tomorrow or 2 days? Let's talk about this weekend to make sure that we really understand it. So that brings down the temperature of the communication or the conversation automatically. It's like, okay, well, I got a couple of days to think about it. It didn't go so bad when I said that first part, so maybe I can figure out a way to bring out other aspects of it. Or sometimes people might not even understand that there's this undertone. There's something else that I really need to convey. So communication is this ongoing thing. It is not a one and done. It's like, okay, I said it. Now everything is good, copacetic. That's just not how communication works.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we have different communication styles. So I'm a internalizer. I gotta think about it, give me a couple days. If you try to talk to me about something that I'm mad about, my reaction is not a good one. My tone is bad. I'm yelling, we're not really having a good conversation. Will is a kid. Let's fix this. Let's talk about it right now. And so we had to
That's
work
me, Will.
that. Yes. And I'm like, no, I'm still simmering. Like, give me a minute. So we had to kind of come in the middle where he had to tell me that it was unacceptable for me to walk around the house mad for a week. That's not okay.
Yeah.
But I had to tell him that, like, okay, you got to give me a minute. You just can't come walk up on me and I'm mad and you trying to talk to me about something.
You from the east side, Shanae?
You said what?
From the east side? You from the east side of Detroit? Like, you just can't walk up on me now.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta give me a second.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Now, you might catch these hands. Don't walk up on me.
Yeah, don't let the glasses fool you. She a two.
Listen, I'm listening to her talk like, no, she is not to be trifled with. Like, don't play with me.
Those are traditional gender traits though too. What you're talking about. Men are typically fixers. They you tell them something, they want to find a solution and move on. And they are the ones that don't stay mad generally for long periods of time. Women, on the other hand, we kind of simmer in what's going on with us. We can be mad for several, upset for several days. And I think one of the keys that might be helpful in that is when Will comes and says, "Hey, babe, what's going on? What's going wrong?" And it's okay to say, "You know what? I have to figure it out yet. How about let's talk about it tomorrow?" Right. So therefore, it's not.
Which
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how you, is that your middle ground? How did you guys come to that middle ground? How did you come to the point where, was that through your pastor or your marriage? How did you get to the point where Will knows, okay, let me give her a cup? Do you automatically know? Do you ask? Like, how did you get to that middle ground?
So again, being a man of faith, like prayer, like for me, God really telling me to be patient, and eventually she would, talk to me and open up. It would be like several days, and I would tell her, like literally, this is what I would say, like because after we talk, we would be good, like we would be
Right,
great.
yeah.
We may cry and hug and just like the marriage would be refreshed. And I would say, like, babe, like look how many days we wasted not being happy. Like I don't want to waste days. That's why I want to resolve things. And I think when I stress the fact that like let's not waste time, let's not lose time. So me being patient and me expressing, that to her, like it's okay for you to be upset and have your time, but let's not let too much time go past because we're wasting time.
Yeah, don't let him fool you though. He literally told me it was unacceptable for me to be mad and I talked to him for a week. And so in that, like, I had to think about it. And then he's told me what he just said multiple times too. So I'm kind of doing both of those. And I said, you're right. Like, I can't interrupt the household like that. You know what I'm saying? So once I kind of figured out that what I was doing was not helping our situation, I had to figure out how I still needed time though.
Yeah.
And so that was the only solution that I could think of with that.
Okay.
I can get my time to think about it, but also we're not gonna take a week to get to resolve something.
Yeah, it's funny.
There's four things that are kind of deadly in communication with couples, and stonewalling is one of them. And that's what it sounds like she
That
was
what it's
doing. It's
called?
like
Stonewalling. I need to write this down for my wife. Stonewalling.
yeah, it's stonewalling when you walk around and you like stomping. And I've printed off a couple things just to have them here in this emotionally withdrawing, shutting down, and going silent during important discussions. Right, used to avoid difficult conversations or underlying problems go unresolved. And the solution to that is some self-soothing, and that means Shanae going someplace internally and doing some soothing for yourself. Like it's okay, doing some progressive muscle relaxation, a little bit of meditation, and coming out on the other side and recognizing that he has my best interest. We can talk through this. It's not the end of the world that we have a difficult conversation. Right. Yeah. But he's absolutely right. Stonewalling is just not a good way to communicate. And there's ways that you can not do that. And it sounds like you guys are working towards that though, or to that already.
Yeah. Oh man, that was great. That was good information for real, Brooke. Thank you for that. All right, so let's have a little bit of fun here. We're gonna break this up a little bit. Let's play one of the games. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'll show you the hashtag. And again, the game you chose was TV and film, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll show you the hashtag. And then once I show you the hashtag, I'm gonna start this timer. And then you gotta, I won't start the timer right away, but I'll give you a chance to kind of think about it. And then I'll start the timer at this point. If you want to call somebody, you can. Just let me know. Okay. So, right. And you know what? This also is dependent on me. I gotta hopefully give some decent clues. So this kind of depends on me. I'll do the best I can to give some decent clues. All right. Here's the hashtag.
What is that?
YAGNJT.
Okay. So think about it for a minute. All right, and
I got it.
Wait, I don't even get it. Okay.
You gotta, it stands for something, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's your favorite show?
Martin.
Tommy. What they always say to Tommy.
You ain't got no job, man.
You ain't
That's
got no
it.
job, Tommy.
They got no job, Tommy. All right.
All right.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay.
I thought it was a word. Like I have no idea what this word is.
You chose this category, Will.
Yes, you
No.
did well.
All right.
She's really good with solving problems.
Oh, okay.
Mysteries.
Mhm.
Yeah, I suck at riddles. I should have not picked this game.
Shanae, do you take time out for yourself? Like, do you have me time?
I do, but I need to be better at that. Like I I I prioritize everybody else over me. So I've tried to get better at making time to do things that I like to do. Recently, like I've been into puzzles, so I started trying to make more time to do puzzles, but I really need to prioritize and going to the gym. And he's always good about when I say like I need time or like I just need like an hour or two or I want to go to the gym. He's good about it, but me feeling like I need to do other things often gets in the way. So
Brooke, what do you say? Because that has been a theme with a lot of the wives that I've talked to about prioritizing me time for themselves. How important is that? And how does the husband help facilitate, or their partner help them facilitate that?
It's extremely important for both partners to have interests and things that they like to do for themselves outside of the marriage. So but I hear you when you say you prioritize. You got a busy life. You've got 3 kids. One is did you say 2 or 4? The youngest? Yeah, so you guys have babies. And then you've got one who's graduating. So it's easy to prioritize those things and then at the end of the day not have enough time for yourself. So one of the suggestions that I always give is start your day off with prioritizing yourself. So it's almost like when you get paid, pay yourself first and then pay everybody else. So pay yourself in the morning. So find something that is a routine that you can do first thing in the morning, and then it makes it a lot easier to go through the day, um, deducting from everything else that you have for all those other important people in your life. But it sounds like it's really, really helpful that Will is supportive of you when you need that time. So it sounds like you guys are doing well with that. Just try to increase it. Try meditation. Meditation is one of those things that I've been touting for people now, for probably about 2 years. It's a practice. It's not something that's a one and done, something quick. But once you get into actually doing it, it is very relaxing and it has tons and tons of benefits. But just find, and I heard you say puzzles. I love puzzles. Just spending some time even doing a puzzle by yourself while everybody's watching television. That's still me time. It's
Yeah.
doing something that you like.
So, because my next question was going to be, do you have difficulty, Shanae, communicating to your husband about when you need me time, or is that's a seamless process? Like it's not an issue.
no, because I usually I'm more of an introvert and so like I kind of get overtouched and overstimulated kind of quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So when I start feeling like that, I'll often tell him like I need you to kind of like take the boys. I'm gonna go take a long shower. I'm gonna do this puzzle. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna go see a movie. So I can kind of feel it coming. I think what I need to do better is I can kind of get touchy before I start realizing that I need time and communicating that I need time. So I could be better about that.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, that was something that I had to learn because I thought it was strange initially.
Mm-hmm.
So we had some issues early on, but like having the issues early on helped us like now where I feel like it's more important because we got more things going on, more kids, more things to add to the pot. So from learning that early, Like it helped me.
Okay, Will, before you, I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off. When you said you had to learn, what was it specifically that you had to learn?
Oh, for her to have me time, like certain things that she would do, I thought was strange, like go to the movies by herself, or like
I go
go.
to lunch and dinner by myself. It
Right.
doesn't bother me.
Yeah, because and this is the thing about us that we didn't mention. Like we are so much opposites attract. It's like hilarious. I mean, even though we got some things in common, but like there's a lot of things that are opposite. She's an introvert, I'm extrovert. So for me being an extrovert, it's like, what do you mean you're going to the show by yourself? What do you mean you're going to the movies by yourself?
Having a great time.
Understand
and
that.
and to an introvert, that's perfectly normal. Like, what are you talking about?
Like I didn't get it. So it was just really strange to me. And again, just not understanding, but like over time and just seeing how much she does for the family and, you know, for me and her care for me, like, even though I didn't like it, as I grew into it, it was like, it wasn't about me, it was about her. And so now, like, she can talk and say to you, like, I have no problem with it, because early on I had to learn that. And yeah, it's not an issue anymore.
Okay, good. That's awesome, man. That is really awesome. I think when you have those pivotal moments in your marriage and your relationship where you're but like something that you don't understand, how do you navigate that? Like, how do you get to it at that middle ground where this is okay for me, but it's not so. I mean, this is okay for me, but it's not so okay for you, and trying to figure out how do we work through that, you know? I mean, I think those are pivotal moments in your relationship, especially when you've made it to the other side. They help build character in your marriage. You know, you're much better for it. What I was gonna say is that generally, at least for me, I found when me and my wife would have arguments, they used to be early on. It'll be just a lot of yelling and back and forth, and nobody's hearing one another. We're both exhausted. And then, you know, you're crying and, you know, trying to hug it out, still trying to figure it out. But when I start putting into practice, listening to understand and not listening to respond, when I tell you, I promise you, it did so much for our marriage. I would say I'm a lot better at it than she is. She still thinks it's okay for her to cut me off. I'm like, and that really, when I tell you, if nothing else gets, especially when I know I'm actively trying, that gets under my skin, and she knows it. Like, I don't like it. Let me say especially if I'm sitting back and allowing you to get whatever it is you need to get it off. Please give me that same respect. Don't interrupt me. But when I've listened to her and listened to understand and not listen to respond, not only has my response to what she was telling me has been different, but her response to me has been different, and I tend to understand a little bit more where she's coming from, even if I don't agree with it or don't like it. It has done wonders for our marriage. I have to say that it has. And she's not here to defend herself, so I'm not trying to throw her under the bus. But she does take a more active approach in doing that, because one, she knows I don't like it, and I'm actively trying to make sure that when we communicate, because like I tried to tell her, when we do that, what ends up happening, you're yelling, I'm yelling, and then we're not hearing one another. That's why it's important that we both listen to one another when we're talking, so that you can understand where even if you don't agree with it. Like, she'll be like, but sometimes you will say something, I'll be like, and I just got to get in there. I understand that's a woman's thing. You got to make your point. But if I'm allowing you to say what you need to say uninterrupted, all I'm asking for is the same respect, regardless to whether or not I said something that you don't agree with it. Let me finish my thought, get it out, you know? And I think that's very important. And it's hard. Like, it's still a work in progress for us to be able to do that. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that we're both good listeners, which is like good. We just gotta get to the point of talking so that we can hear each other.
Okay.
And our pastor often says, like, it's not what you say, like, it's kind of how you heard it. So he may say something that can be triggering, but that wasn't like what he meant or how I interpreted it. And so kind of being aware of that in our relationship has also been helpful. It was just the point of getting to the conversation so that we could listen to each other, because even in a lot of our arguments, we still respect each other and try to listen. and that has been like really helpful. But we've had some heated ones where it ain't no listening going on, so we need to read. So
Yeah. Bro, what do you say? Like, what are some of the tools that you offer to people in situations like what should, what are some of the tools you advise when you talk to couples?
I advise people just what you were saying now, the active listening, I think is really important. And you know that you're actively listening and not listening to respond when you do something like repeating back what someone said and making sure that you understood it correctly. Just as Al said, even if you don't agree with it, just having someone understand what you said makes it a lot easier to continue having a conversation. One other thing that I think that for couples in general is if you go in with the base that my partner has my best interests at heart. My partner is not here to try to tear me down, to belittle me, to make me feel bad. That I don't think, if you go in with that understanding, or that's what my partner's intentions are, if that's what they've conveyed to you, then it makes it a lot easier to hear things that you don't necessarily agree with.
Mm.
So one of it is also always repeating back what the other person said before you then respond. The other thing is what I mentioned earlier, is taking times out. If it's starting to get heated and like, I don't want to do this right now, ask for a timeout. How about let's reconvene tomorrow same time, because that always seems to bring down the temperature in disagreements, right?
Mm-hmm.
If my blood pressure is rising constantly, it's like, this is probably not a good time for us to have this conversation. Let's talk about it tomorrow. But the important piece is naming when you're going to talk about it again. Because otherwise, it's like, I don't want to talk about this right now. Well, that leaves this open-ended thing. But
Yeah.
if you say, let's talk about it tomorrow at 6 o'clock, right before dinner or right after dinner, then everybody gets an opportunity to continue to think about how they're going to respond to the other person.
Okay.
And oftentimes when you're away from someone and thinking about it, you get to think a lot differently than when you're in the midst of the argument.
Okay.
So it's communication. Communication is key.
Will and Shanae, with y'all having small children, how do y'all find time for intimacy?
We need to work on it. It's a work in progress.
Is it planned? I mean, do you guys plan it out? Like, hey, I'm penciling you in for such day and time. Like, I mean,
it's
I had
that.
a couple on here. They literally, they had to do that. Like, it was really like they had to. I got time at this time, because they had a small child. Like, how are you guys? How do you work through that?
It's trying to take opportunities when we get them. So if we were working from home at for a certain period of time, like, oh my gosh, we ain't got no kids, okay. Or it'll be because some days can be really tiring and it's a lot going on. It may just be a text message, hey, what's going on? But I mean, it's a work in progress. We still got small kids. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say, yeah. So more recently, it's been the kind of pencil it in type of situation, but at the same time, like she said, we do like maximize like certain opportunities. Like, it's kind of funny because like we kind of know each other. Like, she knows that's my love language, like touch. So, she'll give me the eye or she'll smack me on the butt or something. And it's like, okay, like, I know what time it is. All right, I'm gonna get the kids to bed early.
Right.
8:30 today.
So like, I mean, at this point, it's a good mixture. Again, she knows my love language, so she's been doing better with like making it unplanned, making it a little more spontaneous. But for the most part, like, we do have the plan. It's like, okay, let's get the kids to bed tonight. 8:30, get the kids in the bed. So it's been a little more of that as of recently.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that your wife knows that's your love language. Do you know what hers is?
Oh yeah, acts of service and
Okay.
quality time.
Say acts of service and who?
Quality time.
Quality time. Okay, okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. Some people don't know is that I know that's what my wife says. It's acts of service as well. She definitely likes acts of service.
Yeah.
Do
One
you
of the
get
things that one of those things though with that love language, and I'm glad that you guys have figured it out. But when people take that little quiz, they know their love language, but there's a second piece is that you got to talk to your partner in their love language. And it seems like you guys have done that.
yeah.
So you can't talk to your partner in your love language and expect that to be received and thought of as this loving gesture. No, it's not a loving gesture for the hit
Right.
me on my butt. If my love language is acts of service, I'd much rather you take out the garbage.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah,
So
that part.
yeah, you have to talk
Oh,
to
come
people
hit me
in
on my
their
butt.
love language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you know what we tend to do? Yeah.
Real quick, I want to share something really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we talked about the year 2 being really, really bad, so after that, like there was some splurts. So when you were pregnant with Liam, that was in 2005. So, but you know,
2016, 15.
15,
Yeah.
15, she got pregnant. So it was something I had to learn. Like for a long time, I didn't understand that because like I saw my father working all the time. He was not domestic, not handy. So I never learned those things. All I knew was to work. So like even in high school, I would work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. So I always knew to work. And so even, you know, as we got married, got laid off, but I ended up getting a job and my thing was work. So therefore the lack of not spending time with her issue, me not being home, you know, it was an issue. Me
To
not
take care of things.
right.
Yeah.
With, you know, my language.
Me not, you know, cleaning up certain things is an issue. And like Brooke said, I'm talking to her and like work, like I'm working.
In your
Woman
love
work.
language, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, like it's not her love language. So I'm like, I'm working, I'm, you know, paying bills. You should be good. So and I think that it was having our pastor, just being that middle person. Like it took several conversations for me to actually get it. Like she was at a point where she wanted like to get a divorce. Like she didn't express it, but like it was a thought, like it was a serious thought. But just him being the middle person opened up my eyes. And then I had that book forever. And I just happened to stumble across it and read it. And then it just hit home. And so now I
Man.
do, you know, I've learned to communicate to her in her love language.
To anybody that's out there listening to us right now today, that book is it can be a definite game changer. If you're having problems in your marriage, pick that book up and read it. I'm telling you, it makes a world of difference because, and Brooke, I want you to kind of chime in on this as well. What I realized is that what we tend to speak to our, Brooke, you mentioned about talking to your partner in their love language. We tend to talk to our partners in our love language. That's not their love language. They don't understand that. And that's how we communicate, because we put out really what we want back.
Right.
Same thing what was going on with my marriage. I'm putting out to my wife what I want to get back. She don't like gifts and all that. I do. I do. I like gifts. But she like, that's not what she like, acts of service. But the thing is, what she found shocking about me, my background, and Will, you know a little bit about my background, it's a little different. And she knew this going into the relationship, but she didn't expect that from me. Like I came up, you know, hustler, you know what I'm saying? I was in the streets. She didn't know that I can fix stuff. So it was a little, she was like, wait a minute, you know how to work a screwdriver and a drill and do it? Yeah. I mean, she was like, I wouldn't have, she never guessed that, but I only say that to say, her expectation of me wasn't really what she thought it was. You know, it was she didn't expect me to be this kind of man, because what she knew about me is the things that she heard. You know what I'm saying? It was just the things that she heard. So it was a little different. But going into that, like I was given acts of service, but what I was trying to communicate to her, the things I'm doing for her, that wasn't her love language. That was my love language. When and like you, Will, it was like a light bulb that cut on. Wait a minute, I'm not communicating to her in her love language. And then we have, I think each couple have a secondary love language as well. It's not their primary, and then it shifts depending on where you at, because marriages go through different seasons. We'll talk about that as well. You go through different seasons in your marriage, and your love language tends to shift. I think your primary love language, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is always what it is. But then you have that secondary one that has that creeps in a little bit, and that's what you need as well, and to figuring out what that is. But I will say, and then Brooke, I want you to chime in, that if you're listening to this, if you're having trouble in your marriage, I highly recommend that book. It has been an absolute game changer. It helps with communication, really.
Mhm. Yeah, it absolutely does, because being in a marriage is knowing thyself, but also knowing your partner, because that your partner is important to you.
Mhm.
So it's just all a part of the communication game that you play.
Yeah.
And you're right that your love language can change. I personally think that your primary love language can change.
Okay.
As you grow and change, your primary love language can change. It's like, okay, because you were saying that yours is gifts,
Mm-hmm.
but there might be a time where you gift it out and it's like, yeah, I don't need any more gifts,
Right.
but I really would like something else, right? I would like
Mhm.
more physical touch. So
Right.
then your love language kind of
That makes
shifts.
sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So I
definitely makes
absolutely think it can change over time. But you're right. I think that book, it's such an easy read too.
It is. It really
By
is. Yeah.
Gary Chapman, if I recall correctly. It's over in the corner over there.
Okay.
No.
It's, the Love Languages book.
What year did you read this book, Will? What year of your marriage did you read this book?
So our middle son was born in 2016. So it was probably 2015, 2016. So that would have been year 4 or 5.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And one of the things that stood out for me in reading that book is that he said you should not be committing the same offenses in year 5 that you committed in year 1. Like you shouldn't be doing that. You're gonna make mistakes, but whatever those mistakes were, you shouldn't be repeating them in year 5, 6, or 7, whatever you did in year 1. That was one of the things I always kind of stood out to me. Like, you have to be growing. You need to be getting, when you know better, you just do better.
Right.
Yeah, and I will say that I could literally see him changing like over that time. So from the first 1 through, I would say the first 5 years of our marriage, it was like this, and then the next 5 was something completely different.
Mhm.
And I could really see that growth over that time.
What did that do for you?
It made me, because I was frustrated during the first part, not really understanding, not really communicating. We weren't getting there, and I wasn't getting what I needed.
Mhm.
And that gave me faith that we were supposed to be together.
Mhm.
We were gonna do this together.
Mhm.
Like, that thought of divorce was not there,
Mhm.
and that we could really work through this, because he could hear me
Mhm.
when I was talking to him, and it wasn't like we were still miscommunicating. So that faith and that hope that this was gonna work was really powerful for me.
Yeah. I think it's a big thing when you realize that your partner is vested in you, and you're vested in your partner. I think it goes a long way. And I was telling, and I try not to get, since I've been doing this, I have to be careful about how I communicate with my boys, because they like, oh, now you doing this marriage this marriage chronicle thing. Now you giving advice. No, like one of my friends was mentioned to me about his wife mentioned something about romance. And I was like, and he said some stuff, because I don't want to say too much, because again, I don't, if they happen to watch this, I'm gonna be like I'm telling their business. But I was like, that's not romance. Like he was, and I'm like, you probably should definitely read this book, but that's not romance. And the thing is that if your partner tells you something, then you need to take it at face value. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're communicating to you, this is what I need, and then you think, well, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. All I could do is I was like, you know what? You're right. I just kind of took my hands off it. Okay. But if your wife is saying X, Y, and Z, then you might want to kind of maybe just take it into consideration. That's what it is, and see what you can do to hopefully meet that need. And generally what I found out, and when you do that as a man for your wife, you get so much back in return from your wife. I mean, listen, it's over. When you do what she needs,
Right.
man, the rewards is, hey, listen here, baby, we winning all the way around. For real.
Yeah, no, that's facts.
Yeah, it really is. When you give to her what she needs, and I want to say the Bible speaks about that. When you your wife returns to you tenfold when you put out to her what she needs, and you get that back in return.
And so we all know that term, like happy wife, happy life. Like I've learned to understand it. That
I
doesn't
don't
mean
subscribe to that, by the way, but go ahead.
so, but hear me out though.
Yeah.
Because like the way I look at it is that like it's not that like your wife, like when you trying to make her happy, that like she's a brat and like you're just over spoiling her. I think that as you make her happy, it reciprocates. Just like you said, I've learned that if I'm making her happy and I am subscribing to her love language, like I'm doing the things that makes her happy, like she's not going to be selfish in that. Like she's going to, like you said, return the favor. So that's why in my head, when I think happy wife, happy life, it's like if she's happy, I'm going to be happy as well. Like she's not going to sit in that happiness, but when she's happy, because the Bible says that the man is supposed to love the wife, like Christ loved the church, and the woman respect the man. So if I'm loving her, like she's going to respect me, or she's going to give more to me. So when I hear that saying, it's do your job, she's gonna do her job.
Yeah.
Well, and if she doesn't have to take care of all of her needs, then it opens up a lot of room and space for her to help to take care of some of your needs.
Hey, Brooke,
right?
That's a nugget. That's a nugget right there for real. Yes, that is an absolute nugget. Yes, for dropping that. That is absolutely correct. I truly believe that. And when I say I don't subscribe to that channel, I say that tongue in cheek, meaning that it's not just your marriage. And that's the thing that always stuck in my head when, oh, happy wife. Well, wait a minute. You're not the only one in this marriage. Why is it just about you? And that's why I used to take offense to that when happy wife, happy life. What about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it just, so that's when I say that. But you're absolutely right, Will. And Brooke, thank you for that, dropping that nugget. When you give to her, like you said, because the women, especially Black women, have so many responsibilities on their plate. Not to say that men, as Black men, we don't have it on ours as well, but I believe, like Brooke said, it opens up the door for her to, if she ain't got to worry about this, now she got some more room to give to you and the family, if you taking on some of that responsibility, Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Do you consider yourself a good husband and wife? How and why? And was there ever a time when you felt like you were not? How and why?
Yeah, I'm gonna go first because like I believe I'm a good husband now, but there was that time period, like she said, from year 1 to 4, like I sucked because I wasn't making her happy. Like how I tell people is that I was very, very selfish, and it's not like a selfish where it was like, woman, you cook and I'm going out. It was just like just not being mindful and transitioning from being a person that's single without a family to being a person with a family. So again, what I mean is that like I think I'm good because I'm working and I'm paying bills. So like you said, not speaking her love language, still doing other stuff, but not spending time with her. So while she was being frustrated, like I'm still doing my thing, going to work, going to play basketball, watching sports and different things like that, being selfish.
Like,
and so
what's the problem? Right.
So from that perspective, like I was really, really bad. And then as I mentioned, when the light came on, when I talked to my pastor, it was like the hurt that she felt, like I literally felt that. Like it literally came on me like because at first it was like, you thinking about divorcing me, like, okay, like you quitting.
Right.
Now I saw myself in the situation. I was the cause of her possibly divorcing me. I said from this day forward, like I will never be the cause of her wanting to divorce me, because like I would have been sucking for all this time, which created the situation, which created her to even think this. No, I gotta work overtime.
Yeah.
And so that's why she said that she can literally see like the change, because I literally, and I told her, I said, I've been saying stuff for a long time. I don't want you to hear me anymore. I want you to see me. And so I just put in the extra work to make her see that I really was vested in this relationship. I really wanted to be that good husband that I thought I was. And now I am a good husband.
Okay.
And I would agree with that. It's He has changed so much, and I can really see it. And then in answering your question, was there a point where I was a sucky up? I feel like yes, but my husband is an he's an extrovert. He likes people. He's a people person. I am not a people person. There was a point where I didn't prioritize going out with him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we have kids. Like my kids are my priority. We can't find a babysitter because you want to go to 4 parties this weekend. No, no. And so but I would just be like no.
Mhm.
But it got to the point where I'm like, okay, so you want to go to 4 parties. First off, you can't go to 4 parties. You can go to 2, and then I'll go to 1 with you.
Mhm.
How can we can we work on that? And so learning and understanding that he gets energy from the people, the crowd, the music, the going out, that back and forth. It doesn't always give me energy, but he likes to have me there,
Mhm.
and trying to give that back to him. And so it's still a work in progress because, like I said, trying to always line up babysitters, and I feel like there's always something going on. There's always a something that, family is always having something, but trying to take that more seriously because even though it's not important to me, it's important to him. And that I would say I'm still a work in progress. I still like staying in the house with my kids. I'm working on it.
So from my perspective, like she has never not been a good wife. Like she's always been amazing. So
Y'all go ahead and kiss.
like no, just like facts. I mean, again, nobody's perfect, and
Right.
you have times where like she doesn't make me happy, but like overall, like the amount of stuff she does, like I don't think that there's not a lifetime that I could catch up to what she does. Like she's always been like good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think it's really good though that you've decided that to give each other's interests a try. So with her saying, I'm gonna go out because that's what he likes, right? I think that's important to do.
Mm-hmm.
At least give it a try. And it might be that, yeah, I tried it and this really isn't for me. Let's try something else. But if you guys have different interests, it's really important to at least give it a try if your partner wants you to be involved in that.
Oh, okay. Great. Great. If you could describe your marriage in 5 words or less, what would it be?
5 words or less. A work in progress.
Okay.
I would say like safe, cushy, funny, loving,
Okay.
adventurous.
What if you had to subscribe to your marriage a season, what season would you say your marriage is in currently?
Our marriage and not our life. Okay. Because our life right now is kind of in transition.
So seasons, you mean like winter, summer, spring?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or you don't necessarily have to ascribe it to winter, summer, spring. Like tell me what and help us explain whatever you say your marriage, what season your marriage is. Maybe it's like she just said, a transitioning or a rebuilding, reconnection. What season would you say your marriage is in right now?
I would say we're in a reconnection because of the transitions in life. So we have small children, and we have a kid that's about to graduate. He just got a job. So even like the past month has just been crazy and trying to running a household. You're trying to get schedules together. You're trying to make sure everybody gets to where they need to go. Everything's okay. I try to make sure I ask him how he's doing. So it's not a natural, how are you doing? Like I'm literally like my head is so much over here.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I walk in the house, I'm like, you need to ask your husband how he is and how his day was.
Nice.
And so that reconnection I think would be appropriate for our marriage right now. I don't know, what do you think?
No, I think that describes it perfectly. And so, like I mentioned, that we're a work in progress, and you can take that either way, but it's like a positive thing to me because I feel like we're really good at working things out, like working situations out, working issues out. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're still together, and the reason why we're so resilient is because like we're both willing to do that. So even though we have these different dynamics that's happening, like we're still like, okay, so how do we make this work? Like, how do we like connect and how do we spend time with each other? So we're always like kind of talking about those things.
Intentional about what you're doing.
Exactly, to make the progress, like to keep the progress going, the good progress.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Yeah, that's great. All right, so let's how is everybody doing with time? I know we kind of a little bit over. If you guys are good, we'll be wrapping up pretty soon, but I want to make sure you guys are okay with time. Brooke, you good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so let's do the next game. This one's a little long. I'll do the best I can to give good clues, but you're more than welcome to call your lifeline.
That other one.
Okay, wait, it's a little blurry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you ready for the clues?
Yeah.
Hold on, wait a minute, wait. Okay.
All right. So what I will say that the Sanaa Lathan was in this movie. Sanaa Lathan, I want to say Taye Diggs, and it was a line in the movie. Has something to do with rap.
She don't watch black movies.
Okay.
She haven't seen a lot of black movies.
Okay, but wait, I saw that one recently.
Yeah, I think that was Brown Sugar. I put her up
Okay.
on that one.
That was good.
Like yesterday. Okay.
You said it was about rap?
It was a line. Well, I'm saying trying to give clues. It was a kind of about rap. Sanaa Lathan was in the movie.
Yeah.
And Taye Diggs. And Mos Def was in the movie as well.
I remember that.
It was like a little montage they did.
I know it's hip hop at the end. So
Yeah. All right, so almost.
Oh, why did you fall in love with hip hop?
There you go. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember from the movie is that divorce scene when he was in a restaurant with the.
Great job.
Celebrate.
Do you remember, Will, the day you proposed to Shanae?
I do. Yes. So why are you laughing?
Because if I recall correctly, I was not in a good mood. No, not when you proposed.
Oh wow.
Go ahead.
That's new information for me.
All right. We all just finding this out. All right,
So-
Will, tell us.
So we had like previously like planned that we was gonna get married because again, being a person in faith, like a couple people kind of prophesied to me or told me, actually take a step back. So she said that she had never wanted to get married. And when we had started to date, like she actually told me that God told her to marry me.
Mm.
I'm like, that's kind of wild because you never even wanted to get married. So I know I think that's kind of true, but I'll let God talk to me before we solidify this thing. And then eventually one guy in particular, he's like a mentor of mine. He called me, generally just called to check in, had a conversation. He was like, y'all married yet? I'm like, no. He's like, why not? He was like, you're supposed to marry her. So anyway, so that was my confirmation. And so I talked to her and was like, okay, yeah. So, we're going to get married, such and such. And so after that, I'm like, well, I still would like to do a proposal. So she had nothing, no idea that I was going to do this. And we were at her townhouse. So of course we bought a room and I put together this slideshow and I pretended like I wanted to dance with her. I put the music on and we was dancing. Oh, and then this particular routine that we did, it was a proposal, kind of like a gesture in the routine. Like we was a part of this production and the routine, it was this gesture. And so when I went down for the gesture, I pointed to the computer and then it was a PowerPoint that kind of showed some pictures of us and then I asked her to marry me.
Oh,
that's sweet.
Oh, all right, Will. Okay.
And I appreciated it because it was just me, him, and my daughter, like our daughter.
Okay.
But that was it. And I'm the introvert, so like he did it in a way that was specific to me and us, and I didn't have a big crowd of people around.
Oh wow.
Would have made me nervous or anything.
Right.
In that particular day, I remember I had just gotten off work. I was tired, and he wanted to do this
Okay,
routine
I
that we
remember
had
now.
done.
I remember now.
And I was like, can we do this on another day?
That was Mr. My proposal.
I did. But at that point I was like, oh my gosh. And it was literally the perfect proposal for me. So,
Oh, that is great.
Okay.
That was great. That was great. Wow. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm gonna have to add some special effects to this one when I get ready to do the edit. That was great though. That was good information. I really appreciate y'all definitely being transparent. Brooke, I just to tell you, they was definitely on board, but they literally called me like the day, 2 days or whatever. But no, I'm gonna say earlier in the week to ask a little bit more. The wife in particular, Shanae was like, I want to make sure this ain't no fluff people. We just ain't gonna get on here and talk about the rosy stuff about marriage. I was like, no, we want to know the ugly parts, whatever you're willing to share though, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. And she was like, okay, I'm in. She was like, because every time I see a show about marriage, it's always about the rosy stuff. I was like, no, this is not. Marriage is not all. I mean, it's not. You can't always view it through rose-colored lenses because it's just not. That's just not what it is. When I hear about people saying they ain't never had no problems, you couldn't possibly have a marriage. Like there's no way you have a healthy marriage if you haven't gone through something. You have to have gone through something. Like people are like, oh no, we've never had a problem. I'm not saying that you can't be happy. You can't give that title to your marriage. It's been a wonderful marriage, but you had to have had some problems at some point along the way. You're two different individuals coming from two different backgrounds. How do you not have problems?
Yeah, even if it wasn't just between y'all, you bringing in family members too,
And that part.
So
Yeah.
there had to be something. So
Yeah.
that was the reason why I called, because I said I'm not gonna pretend like we didn't have
Exactly.
problems.
Yeah. Exactly.
And in particular, like she said, like the dynamics that's going on now. Again, it's been difficult, and it's not like it's like making our marriage rocky, but it's just like challenging to make those things fit. And that's why she like, well, look, I'm not about to go on this show and act like this. We ain't got this dynamics going on, and we gonna act like so. Yeah.
Especially in the transition period, we got things and we got to be intentional about things, and it's not very easy all the time. So I just wanted to make sure that putting that out there, like it's gonna be.
And you know what? And like I said at the top of the hour when we first started, I know like I've this has literally been a year in the planet for me. And God told me I have Brooke is one of the therapists, but I have another therapist I work with as well. Sometimes she's on the show. But when she walked into she's a client of mine, but when she walked into my studio and we started training, I found out who she was. I was like, that's confirmation. Go ahead and get this started. I'm saying all that to say, I had talked to, and I know a lot of couples, married couples, I asked, I was like, hey, this is what I'm planning to do. Oh yeah, that's wonderful. I'm going to do it. Literally half of those people I have not been able to get on the show. Either one person in particular was like, oh no, you know what? Our marriage is just not in the place for that. But I didn't take offense to it because guess what? Like I said earlier, I understand marriage is sacred. And to discuss things that are happening in your marriage that may have offended you or offended your spouse, I can get why that would be uncomfortable to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I totally understand. So again, like I said, I'm booked though. When I say I'm booked, I'm all through April is booked up. I'm planning for May and June and July. So I'm happy about that because people have been willing to come on and talk. But I understand it's not easy to talk about things that happen in your marriage, whether you got into the other side of it or not, because you still could be feeling raw about it in some way, shape, or fashion. So I totally understand. But again, like I said, I do not take it lightly that y'all on here, and I thank you for being so transparent and making sure, like, hey, I'm not giving no fluff piece. If we can't keep it real, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's important. And like I said, especially with Black marriages, because I feel like the stigma that is put on Black marriages that they don't, I mean, the divorce rate is already high. I don't know what the number is. Maybe Brooke, you can tell me that. I don't know what the divorce rate is among people of color. I know the divorce rate is high, but I don't know how that stacks up with people of color.
Yeah, I do not know offhand what the divorce rate is, but I will write a note to find that out.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we are getting close to the end. I do want to just one more question I want to ask. What advice would you give yourself if you can go back in time before you married your spouse? What advice would you give yourself if you can go back in time and give yourself some advice, what would you tell yourself before getting married to your spouse?
Question.
For me, it would be, and you said this earlier, is taking to heart like what your spouse says, like really ingesting it and digesting it. Because again, like that period where I, felt like I sucked as a husband, like she would say stuff and like she is very cool. Like she's not a complaining, naggy, scream to the top of her lungs about like what she needs to happen. She would casually mention it and I would just kind of blow it off. Like, well, I know you want this room painted, but like I'm working 60 hours, so you should be good. And just really taking it to heart before she gets to that point of frustration and wanting a divorce. But giving that advice and actually applying it, because you being married, it's funny that like you hear certain things about, again, communication, but you don't really understand it until you're actually in the situation. But definitely, telling myself to, again, take it to heart, like what she said, like what she says, she means, and make sure you put the action to responding to her with her request.
Yeah.
I think I would tell myself, it's okay to feel your emotions and to express them without you having to think so hard. I'm a thinker and I tend to overthink. So even if I haven't quite figured it all out, it's okay for you to express that and say, but you know what, I haven't quite figured it all out, but this is how I'm feeling right now. We can also talk about this like a little later when I figured out some other things. So I think that probably would have solved a lot of our communication issues like very early on.
Yeah. Brooke, you got anything?
Yeah, well, I'm not in their marriage, so I don't know what they would, but I think that I it was delightful meeting you two, and I think that you guys have worked through some pretty important issues. One being communication and how to recognize each other and hear each other when you talk. I think that's really important. Another thing that I like to leave couples with is create rituals for yourself. It reminded me about it when you said that I'm on my way home and I had to remind myself to ask him how his day is. Make rituals around that. Make rituals around the first time. One ritual could be when you first come into the house or when you first see each other, whatever time of day that is that you take just a few minutes to spend together. How are you? How am I? Checking in with each other. Distraction free. Ask them, am I giving you enough time? Because I know we're all kind of focused in on our electronics. Spend some time without those electronics, because those can sometimes be deal breakers.
Yeah.
Right. If one what did you say?
That last one was a good one. Like, am I giving you enough time? And then like,
yep. Am I giving you enough time? Actually, there's some questions that I had to, and that was one of them. Am I giving you enough time? Are we talking enough? In your is what am I giving you what you need? Right. And then being prepared to listen and couching some of these conversations in not date night, but just a nice evening where you have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, something soothing, and sitting down and really just communicating with each other.
Yeah.
About, are we friends?
Right.
Tell me about when we first met and what that meant for you. Just having conversations about your relationship would be helpful.
Yeah, I think that's definitely important. Thank you for that, Brooke. One of the things me and my wife, because with me being a hustler, and I'm trying different things all the time. Like I'm looking for multiple streams of income, and it's so funny. She said to me, what did she say? How did she put it? She was like, there have been multiple things you've done. And I'm like, all I could do was laugh, because there have been a few things I didn't, invested my time in, may not have paid off, but she's been there through it. You know what I'm saying? She supported me through it. And I just thought it was kind of funny that she said that. It's kind of, I don't know if it was a jab or not, but I was like, okay, yeah, she's right. There's been a few things I didn't try, but that's just who I am. And she accept me for that. You know what I'm saying? That's me. I'm out here and I'm trying to make different things happen. But when Brooke said, put your device down, like that's intentional. When we go out to dinner, like, because I am on YouTube and this is one of my multiple streams of income trying to get going, putting information out there, trying to be a you entrepreneur or influencer or whatever, that I'm taking pictures and I'm doing stuff like that, but I still got to make time for her. This is our date night. So I came to the agreement, well, I'm only going to take so many pictures before we leave the house, so many pictures when we get to where we're going, and then it's me and you. So she was like, okay, I'm cool with that. But prior to that, I told her, when we go out to dinner, no phones, at least until after the food has been brought out and we serve. At that point, before that, no phones. We have to talk at this point. We have to sit down and talk. And she used to tell me early on, when we were dating, she didn't like going to the movies. The reason she didn't like going to the movies, she said that didn't allow us to communicate. And I was like, but like you were saying earlier, Will, I'm like, what are you talking about? At the movies, we communicate, but no, we're not. We're sitting there watching the movie. We're not communicating. Like you said, Shanae, you're not talking. You laser focus on the movie. I'm like, but I'm not in high school. No, I'm not trying to fill you up. We watching the movie. You know what I'm saying? But I get it now. That's not communication. So she don't really, unless it's something she really, really wants to see, she'll go with me. It has to be something that she really, really wants to see. She's not a real big movie person because she says that doesn't give us that space to communicate. So I totally understand and I get it.
That is such a good thing because, like, talk about a hustler. He be hustling too.
Hey, Will got that. Yes, there. I feel you.
And so, to me, sometimes in the evening, when I'm trying to talk to him, he's listening to a webinar, or he's trying to get the information that he's needing. And, I'm trying to talk to him about something. And so he's like, well, yeah, I got like 30 minutes left on this. And then that annoys me sometimes because I'm like, I need more time. But I didn't think about actually asking for the time.
Yeah.
Just like you said. So I think that could be something actually that we work on. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. You know what the thing is, and Brooke, you please, chime in on this. Sometimes when she talked about those rituals, it's something that I thought about. It may not seem organic at the time. You just do it. You keep doing it. And then it will become organic. Because somebody was like, well, if it's just not in a person, it's just not in a person. I don't agree with that. I think if it's something that you need, your spouse needs, and you intentionally do it, it'll become natural to you at some point. But you gotta be open and willing to do it, and it'll become organic. Like she said, create a ritual. One of the things we don't do it all the time, but me and my wife, and I know she thought it was funny at the time, but we have our own little secret, our own little handshake we do, because we've done it in front of other couples. They be like, "What are y'all doing?" But that's just our thing. And I said, when I come in the house, I want to do that with her, but I don't always do it. Do our little handshake and then we give each other a kiss. I don't always do it because sometimes she's on the phone because she works from home. She's on the phone, so we don't get a chance to do it. But what I have noticed is that once she gets off the phone, she comes into the room where I'm at, and then if we don't do our little handshake, she makes sure she hugs and kisses me. You know what I'm saying? So I think you have to be intentional, purposeful in those things so that they become organic at some point. It's not like you doing them and you feeling, because I was there at one point, like, I don't want to be fake, you know what I'm saying? No, but you do them, especially when you have your partner's best interest at heart. Like and she has mine at heart. Like, you do this and eventually it becomes organic. It's natural. It's a natural thing. And it doesn't
it just becomes part of your relationship.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. It becomes part of your relationship. So
yeah, and some of the tips for building those relationship rituals is just be together. Keep it simple. It doesn't have to be a big event. It can be as simple as it can be as simple as sharing a cup of coffee on your Saturday and Sunday mornings, right? That's the ritual that we have.
Okay.
Eliminating distractions. That's turning off the TV, getting rid of all that social media stuff, making it a priority. So nothing else kind of takes its place. So I know that you two have children. And it's important for your children to see that the two of you are the most important piece of this. This is mommy and daddy's time. Unless the house is burning down or somebody's coming through that front door,
Right.
there is nothing that interrupts this, even if it's just that short cup of coffee. Be completely present when you do it and do it consistently. Yeah, and some examples are a book club. If both of you like to read, pick a book that you're both going to read together that you can then discuss. If you both like movies at home, even watch something. You don't necessarily have to watch it at the same time, but kind of keep up the pace, or you can watch it together. This is what we watch in the evening while the kids are asleep. This is what we do. Mini dates, evening walks after dinner, those kinds of things.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be anything big, just something that you call your own.
Yeah.
They are.
Y'all like that? I know I definitely she dropped some jewels on me, some stuff I can definitely add to my relationship and help strengthen and build as well. One last game, and then we're gonna close everything out. So this one is, I'm gonna show you the clue here.
YGEYC.
I don't know what this, but this is a staple in soul food. It's a food that people cook, that Black folks cook, and they cook it with greens.
Greens.
When y'all, if y'all don't guess it, y'all gonna be like, I can't believe I don't know that. I'm gonna have to take y'all black card if y'all don't get this one.
I got the first part.
You got the first part?
Oh, life. You gonna eat your cornbread?
That's right.
Oh, good.
That's what's up. That's what's up, Shanae. You got all three. Will, you can't pick the categories no more. Well, maybe your wife gonna guess them.
That's okay. I got it.
I took it. Really.
Well, look, we definitely gonna. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with both of you. I appreciate you coming on, being so transparent. I definitely gonna have you guys back on at some time in the future to just maybe discuss things, drill down and discuss things maybe more specific. But today was definitely a eye opener for myself. It gave me a little bit of insight to you guys as a couple. I know you kind of on a surface level because we've Will taught ballroom at my gym, and that's kind of how we got. And then we were involved into a business venture together as well. So we became friends at that. And his wife used to be a client of mine. So I know you guys, but not knowing you like this in a different way. You know, you get allowing us into your marriage. So this has definitely been an insight for me, and thank you for that. I appreciate it. And Brooke, you are absolutely delight. I love the questions. I love you chiming in and you know, giving us more context on things and giving a couple some advice. You know, on what they could do to help improve their marriage, the longevity of their marriage, and just add some spice to it. So I definitely appreciate you've been an absolute delight as well. So I'm glad you a part of the Black Marriage Chronicle team. I appreciate it. We look forward to having you back on.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah,
thank you so much. So Max, before we walk away, before we close things out, is there anything that you would like to offer our listeners and our watchers before we close things out? Is there anything you would like to say, leave us with?
Well, yes. So going back to communication, and this is something that I think that every couple really want to take to heart. So learn how to listen to your spouse in the way that she needs to be listened to. So what that means is that, and you said it earlier, like you're listening, you know, I heard somebody say like you listen, but you don't hear. And even myself, like I listen, but I didn't take to heart. But it's like listening with intentions to understand what she's really saying. Mm-hmm. We just say communication and we think is you talking to that person, but you could be talking to that person and they're not hearing you.
Right, exactly.
So listening with an intention to actually hear what your spouse is saying, and you hear it in a way that like she wants to be heard. So that's my biggest thing. And I just want to shout you out, man. I really love what you're doing with this.
Thank you.
Like you said, like with with our people in particular, like and whenever I find couples, I always like, try to give them nuggets. Not that I know everything, not that my marriage is perfect, but I really want to see Black marriages thrive. So keep up with it, man. This is fantastic.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah, I just want to, I'm happy to be here and to add to this. I just want to see Black couples winning. So keep it up, man.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Say, make sure y'all like and subscribe
Thank
because
you.
I watched your other videos and they're fire. So make sure y'all like and subscribe, please.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Shanae. Yeah. What's the technical term for that, Brooke? It's called active listening, where you're listening to understand and not to respond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Active listening.
Okay. All right. You want to leave us with some takeaways before we close things out?
Oh, goodness. I
Yeah.
think we've really talked about most of them, but communication is key in relationships.
Okay.
It really is. And making time for your partner. It's not like you just get married and then kind of go along your way. And always take the temperature of your marriage.
That part.
Get in the habit of taking the temperature of your marriage. I had a couple that told me that they have basically a summit every year on around their anniversary to decide whether we're gonna keep going.
Oh, wow.
Right. So they really talk about the things that have been happening, even though they talk about it throughout the years, or throughout the year, but they make it a point to really dig a little bit deeper perhaps around that time.
Okay.
So make sure that you keep your marriage in the forefront of your mind and always think about ways that you can enhance it.
Yeah.
And it takes effort. It takes time and effort. It's not just like, okay, we're married and now everything kind of falls in place. It is actually a decision that you make every day to stay together.
Every day it is. And like y'all said, I think that's one of the themes I've been hearing constantly throughout our conversation today. It's a work in progress. It really is. It is a work in progress, and you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional. Yep. So with that, I'm going to close it out. I like to close it out with a bit of a prayer. So Will, man of faith, I'm going to have you go ahead and close us out in a word of prayer.
No problem.
All right.
All right. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to be able to share your wisdom, Lord. And we ask that you will continue to bless us, bless our marriage, and even everyone on here, their marriages, Al's marriage, Brooke's marriage, and that this platform, Lord God, really be an instrument to enhance Black marriages. And I know there's going to be other folks and other nationalities listening to enhance their marriages as well, because you designed it. You said what God has brought together, that no man put asunder. So we just thank you, Lord God, again, for hearing our prayers, blessing this platform, and just blessing us individually. So thank you for hearing us out today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Will. We appreciate that. Okay, with that, I'm going to let you guys go because I got an event I need to get to as well. But it's been a pleasure talking to everyone. Hold on, sorry about that. I need to put my phone so that when phone calls won't come in anyway. But it's been a pleasure.
Hey, hurry up!
Yeah, right. Thank you so right. At that part. Thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful day. With that, I'll leave you in peace. I appreciate it, y'all.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so that was another successful episode of Black Marriage Chronicles. It's funny now. I appreciate everyone sticking around to the end. That was the Max. That was Will and Shanae Matt. It's been great. I appreciate all the likes. The views have gone up and everything, so I definitely appreciate it. But again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions about any particular couples that we've had on the show so far, if you want to see them come back, let us know. I can pretty much tell you every couple that we didn't had on, we're gonna have them back at some point. But I want to get down the road a little bit before we bring some couples back. But there are some couples I know particularly I want to come back because there's some more additional information, stuff I would like to ask them about and get from them. But it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. With that, I'm going to leave you in peace.